It's September 1775, and Boston is a city under siege. British soldiers patrol the streets. Cannon fire echoes from nearby hills. Neighbors whisper about who is a patriot, who is a loyalist, and who might be spying for either side. And in the middle of all this, a determined Scottish-born woman named Elizabeth Murray Campbell Smith Inman, a woman who refused to be silent, refused to be powerless, and somehow managed to build a life of her own even while war and politics swirled around her. Elizabeth Murray wasn't raised to be just a wife. Long before most women dared to run businesses, she set up her own shop in Boston. She sold imported goods, kept her own accounts, and trained younger women as apprentices. In fact, she once wrote bluntly that young women needed to be able to do for themselves without depending on the uncertain kindness of others. That wasn't a romantic sentiment. It was survival. By the time she married Ralph Inman, a wealthy merchant from Cambridge, she already had money, property, and influence of her own. But here's where it gets messy. Elizabeth leaned patriot. She supported her nephew James Murray, who joined the revolutionary cause. She corresponded with friends like me. She even tried to keep her Boston property safe from being plundered by British troops. But her husband Ralph, he leaned loyalist. He believed sticking with the crown was the safer bet. In a world where husbands usually spoke for wives, Elizabeth's position was dangerous. Patriots distrusted her because of Ralph. Loyalists distrusted her because of her outspoken independence. She was walking a political tightrope, and she refused to fall. When the fighting broke out in April 1775, Ralph stayed mostly in Cambridge, leaving Elizabeth in charge of her properties, finances, and tenants. She managed accounts, collected rents, negotiated contracts, and made decisions that most women weren't supposed to make. In one surviving letter, she scolded a tenant who owed her money, saying, "It is neither in my power nor inclination to suffer neglect of business. Payment must be made." That wasn't just housekeeping. That was command. Elizabeth knew her determination made people uneasy. In another letter, she admitted, "The world does not love to see a woman act for herself, but act I must, for no one else will do it for me." Too patriot for loyalists, too independent for traditionalists, too tied to a loyalist husband for full patriot trust, she never fit neatly into anyone's box, and she didn't care. Elizabeth's story isn't neat and tidy, and that's exactly why it matters. The revolution wasn't just muskets and marching drums. It was people caught in between. It was women forced to keep households alive even when politics divided their very own families. It was business owners trying to survive under siege. Elizabeth Murray Campbell Smith Inman stood right in the middle of it, and she refused to back down. She may not be as famous as other women of the time, but in 1775, when Boston shook with war and whispers, she was one of the women who proved that independence wasn't only a dream for a new nation. It was a dream for women too. And if you'd like to hear more of these stories of women who stood firm, who managed households, who spoke boldly, who carved out independence in their own ways, then please subscribe below and walk with me through the lives of women of the Revolution. Their voices are many, their stories are waiting.